we feel some responsibility and obligation to fulfill that. But I think no matter what, our mindset was, let's be aggressive to add to the core that we had. But fortunately, we don't have to spend much time thinking about that alternate reality of not having Shohei. But again, just that pledge and commitment we made to him, take it seriously.
Even with like the other guys in this field, how much does the deferred money kind of help make all these things fit for what you guys are trying to do?
I mean, it's just a level. We've talked about this. We've done deals recently that don't have deals that do. In a negotiation, I think it's always challenging. And so you're looking to any lever you possibly can to help get to a point where there is overlap. Times where that deal lines up in a more straightforward way, there's times where it's less straightforward. And so including deferrals helps as a lever to find that overlap, and it's been a useful tool for us. And but we have no hard and fast rule. We just like to get deals done.
Are there any players or is that just like players being more amenable to it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit with having a number of our star players with deferrals, I think has made it something that guys have no issue with, and in some cases may even desire. It's hard to say. We haven't done too much on it. But at times where we've gotten to a little bit of an impasse on the deal, either their side's right out for us, at times it's really helped help close that last mile. It's just how you account for that. You have to fund a lot of it right now, and having that money go to work for you, we have a lot of our ownership group or financial background, and you can have that money go to work right now and just maybe not something that sneaks up. We're not going to wake up at 2035 oh my God, that's right, we have this money due. We'll plan for it along the way.
More money where it make different versions of revenue that we get.
Yeah, but again, that's more on the business side. I don't think that had that not been the case, that we wouldn't be sitting here right now with Blake. Our business is very healthy. We have a really good team. We have a lot of different revenue sources, and more than anything, we are investing it aggressively, and we feel a real obligation to our fans. The passion that they show us, we feel a real pressure to deliver for them.
The last 2 years, the Bengals starting pitching before they did all of them. How did that motivate your move to place? How does that affect your priorities going into something?
I don't know the answer to that. Naively, last February, I was like, we may be in a position that, like, the dream is to be in first place and be a seller. Because my goal is to not buy in July. I'm setting that out there right now. My goal is to do everything we can right now to not buy in July. It is terrible. Yes, everything. Everything. It is a terrible time to acquire talent. And so we're going to do everything we can to put ourselves in a position to not. Obviously, as we saw last year, if we need to, we will. But our goal is to not. And last February, I naively joked about how we may be in a position where sellers and be in a good position. I will never make that mistake again. So the point is, I don't know. And we're going to spend a lot of time on our pitching and injuries and just trying to wrap our arms around it more. There's a big problem in the industry. We're going to do everything we can to be better at it than we were the year before. But, you know, I think having depth and starting pitching is never bad. There's no such thing as too much pitching. We learned that.
Coming up the World Series with the Red Blue generated from showing his money and his brand, right? Do you feel like you're able to influence at this point in the trajectory that you were able to influence?
Yeah, I mean, I think the level of the commitment from our ownership group from the minute I got here has been awesome. And it really has. And, you know, it's something that in every meeting, in every conversation, in every text message, it has always been on the area of the side of being aggressive. It has always been, hey, let's go, let's push, let's get better. But yeah, I think it's with the position we're in right now and the success we've had, it puts us in a position to be more aggressive. And it's about doing everything we can to maintain. You know, we've talked about this a lot. There are a lot of large revenue teams who have had a run of success and then fallen off a cliff and taken years and years to go back. And it's why the keeping money at the present and the future is so important. So, you know, through all of that, for us to maintain a high ranking of our farm system, and we have the depth of talent that we have in our farm system that we had to pull from a lot last year with all the injuries and, you know, whether it's drawing from it to help supplement the major league team, whether it's trading in to acquire major league players, it's incredibly important. So for us, while being more aggressive in the near term, it's still keeping a mindful eye on the out years for us to be able to maintain this for as far as we can see out.
Andrew, we've heard a lot about the free agents meeting with, have interest with, signing up late. How does that affect your own free agents internally? Kirsch, Walker Buehler, Josh, Teo, EK, Blake, as well as guys, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, we've had different conversations with our own guys, you know, from our standpoint, throughout it. The only thing we can control is being honest and having conversations with those guys. We have a lot of respect for them. They put themselves in this position. They deserve the right to figure out what's best for them and their family. And the only thing we can control is being honest. And so from our standpoint, stepping away from specific free agents, we're still focused on what we can do to get better and to improve our chances of winning the World Series in 2025. And we'll continue to talk through trade stuff and free agents and figure out what potentially lines up.
You kind of alluded to it up there, but what can you take from that offseason 421, how the 21 played out and this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really difficult to win. So you start there, and then you get the sense of how difficult it is to repeat. But the only thing more difficult than winning is repeating. And for us, there are a couple of different reasons behind that. One is potentially some level of complacency that comes from that. And I just don't think that's a year that our guys have. And two, usually you have used your pitchers really extensively in October. We didn't do that this year. We're going to have a lot of guys that are going to be, well, hopefully, that are going to be really frisky if we're able to make it into October next year that won't have taken on that added workload the previous year that we think will be helpful in a strange way. but that is usually a contributing factor as well. And I'm sure there's more, and we'll spend more time on it. Right now, we're more in acquisition mode. But even with the acquisition mode, adding guys who are hungry to our existing group, we think is a good thing, and will just help propel everything even more.
What made Tommy Edmonds someone you wanted to stay?
I guess as long as we were trying to acquire him, it just felt like once we finally got him, didn't let him go. No, I mean, he's a guy that just fits us really well, and how talented he is on defense and at different difficult spots to find and access in the market. They just could not foresee a way that he would fit us looking out. So he loved his time in LA and wanted to be here longer term. We wanted him to be, and usually when you have that, it's a good jumping off point to get something done.
And you talked about it on the goal there. I'm curious how you define this or
I don't know. I think it's more just when we look back on it, that is how it's generally regarded. I don't know what that means. And so for us, it's just do everything we can to win as many times as we can. But it's a fair question.
Yeah, but
I think you're ruining baseball with all this spending.
I think we're rewarding our incredibly passionate fans.
Andrew, when Blake tells you in a conversation that you should have done more to make Kevin Cash's job more difficult to pull him out, I mean, you already know about his accountability, responsibility. Did that just reinforce that, or did you learn more about Blake in these conversations?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy for guys to internalize that in different ways, and I think just the level of maturity, accountability, staying focused on things he can control, I think speaks to that, increased and continued maturation that guys often go through as they're working through their career. But in conversations, we think his desire to be great is incredibly genuine, and we think he's got the weapons and things in place to do that. And usually in Major League free agency, you're buying the backside of a guy's career. We think there are really compelling things in place that could lead to this next 5, 6, 7, 8 year period being the best of his career.
Why do you think there's so much discourse about the deferrals? It's obviously you're not the first team to do it, and it's certainly
I don't know. I mean, I think the Shohei one was just very extreme. But if you set the Shohei contract aside, the rest are all within the norm and standard operating procedure that a lot of teams have done. But I think the Shohei one is just jarring to people because it's so different. And I think that the others just unfairly get lumped into that. But I think it's kind of a lazy narrative. But don't spend too much time on it and not really worry about it.
Do you think that you've talked a lot about you want this place to be like a destination spot for free agents? Do you think all these guys that take the firms and maybe speaks to that? Just maybe how much they want the wanting to be here makes them more.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say because what their alternatives were and whether it was less, then it's not as relevant. Other situations were more, then I think it speaks to it. I don't know about that specifically, but just in conversation, I think it's a real thing. Talking to our internal free agents, many of whom have expressed, hey, ideally we want to stay. And talking to free agents from other teams who said, hey, it'd be great to play for the Niners. Blake touched on it on the dais. I think the city, the weather, the fan support, the talent that we have contributes greatly in us reaching that goal. But it's one of those goals that we never want to get complacent with. Creating that destination spot, we're better at it today than we were 4 years ago. And in my mind, we will have failed if we're not better at it 4 years from now than we are today. So it's something we have to continue to nurture and and grow, but I think it's very much in place, and we're looking to strengthen that advantage.
What's the better like version of like when you talk about getting more out of Blake? Like, is that just kind of his dominance a little more consistently? Is it actually
Yeah,
like
I
kind of
think-
changing some of the stuff
I
that
think
he
at the
does?
very least, it's potentially providing for more consistency. That stretch in the second half last year is about as dominant as a pitcher can possibly be. And you saw the uptick in strike one. You see a guy that has had some of his challenges in terms of walk rate, and you think, okay, he doesn't really know where the ball's going, but he's got great stuff. He actually has really good command. The problem is he's really hard to hit. And so therefore, most pitchers can end an at-bat earlier than he can on a ball in play. Blake is so challenging to hit that at-bats often don't end, whether it's fouled off or just locks him up and they take it and it's a ball. I think there's some pitch selection, pitch usage, just different things that can help just an extra little bit. I mean, obviously, being a two-time Cy Young Award winner and having the stretches of dominance that he's had feels like a silly comment to say, but it's genuinely how we feel.
You talked a lot about this golden era of Dodger baseball. I know you have a lot of guys on contracts until the 2030s, but do you see this 4 or 5 year window, everyone at their prime, but his contract, what's left on that as a window to really capitalize and maximize on the changes?
I mean, yes and no. I wouldn't say we're any more focused over the next 2 or 3 than we were in the last 2 or 3, or we will be 6 or 7 from now. Our goal is to do everything we can to be in position to win, but also we're not going to do anything that pushes a lot of chips for 2 years and then puts us in a position where we fall off a cliff. So it's balancing the timing of contracts and talent and our farm system and what our needs are, all of that, that there are certain things we haven't done because what it would potentially mean in terms of blocking something or locking something up, that, it's a balancing act in terms of, long-term contracts and young players and how to integrate for you to be able to sustain success over a long period. And that is what our focus is, and I'm sure we can do that.
How have you guys adjusted with off-season training and maybe players who are used to being able to come here?
Yeah, it's been a huge advantage for us in years past, having our players here, minor league players, big league players, training here, our chefs making breakfast and lunch, obviously the weather being perfect. It's been a challenge this winter, and making the most of it. We feel like it will be worth it in the end, but certainly a challenging off season.